Hi, I'm Carly van Welsen, PhD, and my videos are about humanistic psychology, well-being, self-actualization, relationships, and parenting. If you like those topics, please consider to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Part 1 is about systemic work constellations, insights about loyalty, hidden loyalties in families and groups. Loyalty is an extremely interesting concept. Generally speaking, we love this concept loyal because it has very positive vibes. Who doesn't like loyalty? And loyalty is one of the basic elements of healthy and happy relationships. However, when loyalty becomes an energy that is not serving our highest good, when it is holding us back from living our best life, then we need to learn more and dive deeper into the human psyche and its connections. We need to find a bigger picture. Becoming aware of our hidden loyalties can often be done. In either case, it is an extremely crucial part of moving towards emotional healing and living a fulfilling life. Everyone has loyalties and hidden loyalties. We have loyalties to our belief systems, siblings, family members, tribes, grandparents, nations, and groups of people we don't even know. We can divide loyalty into 3 levels. The first loyalty is the one to yourself. The second level is about you with your family and family members. The third level contains the groups you belong to, peer groups, tribes, religion, nation, etc. Your personal loyalty, level 1, can be in huge conflict with the family loyalties or the groups, tribes, etc., levels 2 and 3, of which you may be totally unaware. This can cause stress. So let's look into the core of it. It starts with the ability to be happier than those who gave us life. Can we be? Are we able to say, Mother, please bless me if I have the courage to be happier than you? Or, Father, please smile upon me kindly if I have the courage to be more successful than you? Similar issues can arise with siblings. The premature death of a sibling can impact your ability to thrive. Or if you are raised in a family and your sister or brother is disabled, are you comfortably able to have or become more successful than that sibling? Do you allow yourself to be happier than your brother or sister? So what if your parents, grandparents, or ancestors went through war or other atrocities? If they were persecuted or were slaves? Are you able to say to your ancestors who suffered so much, please bless me if I have the courage to thrive and to be happier than you? Or are you loyal to their suffering? Do you know? What if your father or grandfathers were fighting wars and didn't return home or came back totally changed? Or if your parents survived the Holocaust or grandparents who fled for the Russian pogroms? Could their fears be inherited by you? Or what if you are of indigenous inheritance or heritage and you come from a nation that has been colonized? Or what if you're from Australia or New Zealand, Argentina, Canada, or the United States? In those nations where the indigenous people either were massacred or killed by the diseases that came with the settlers, how could that impact you? I can answer those questions for you. Even if you answered yes to several of those questions, the insights will give you relief. You'll uncover facts you were not aware of or didn't understand. The wonderful part is that much can be healed or changed or integrated. As an adult, I moved from Europe to America, a society and culture of immigrants. In my practice, I often see the impact immigration can have on people's well-being and fulfillment in life. Positive thinking is extremely important, but hidden loyalties can create inner conflicts and block the flow of creativity and thriving. So what about you? Can you allow yourself to have it all and allow to your magnificence to shine, taking into consideration what has happened before? This is an important question to ask and to reflect upon. It can be equally true if it is the perpetrator that you are a grandchild of or the descendant of victims. You may be equally burdened. Through many years of doing ancestry and family constellation work, I've observed that it often makes no difference. So if you are the descendant of the perpetrator, like a war criminal or slave owner, Even though it is so long ago, you are just as likely to sabotage your own success through alcohol, through consistent bankruptcy, through drug taking, and even through suicide, than if you are the descendants of the victims of war or slaves. So, in fact, the descendants of the slaves or the colonized, or the descendants of the slave owner or the colonizer, can share a very similar fate. So, who carries a heavier burden? The grandchild of someone who worked at Auschwitz or the grandchild of the one who survived Auschwitz? Both can have similar signs of PTSD or self-sabotage elements. Neuroscience today shows that if you have one parent with PTSD, as a child, you can have 3 times as much chance to inherit the symptoms belonging to PTSD without having gone through the experiences. You can ask yourself, are you the descendant of a victim or a perpetrator? We tend to have more sympathy for the victim role. And we are focused on making the victim far more important than the perpetrator. The after effects are really exponential. If this resonates with your personal story, don't lean backward, but know you can change all that. Shaping the family tree and releasing unhealthy loyalties is a great thing to do. What happens to the soul of a nation that perpetrates such heinous acts upon other human beings? What happens to the soul of a nation that has terrible wounds inflicted upon them? It is interesting to realize that perpetrator nations were at one time also victimized and enslaved. For instance, in Europe, the Roman Empire conquered the Spanish Empire, the British Empire, the French Empire, the Dutch Empire, and so the cycle goes on. These are typically the empires that became colonialists. The cycle stops when we realize our own loyalty, when we clear the way to the happy, fulfilling life we want for ourselves, and that is what our ancestors truly want for us as well. Most of them at least. So what if you're a child who got out of a disastrous situation? What if you are the child that got away? If you are raised in poverty and you were able to climb out, so you may have all of the career successes in the world, but you are missing that loving, intimate relationship. Or what if you may have a loving, intimate relationship but lack of physical health or financial well-being? There will always be an area of lack. I'm not allowed to have it all because my sister is still left behind, or my brother is so sick, and my parents suffer so much in order to give to me. Subconsciously, it could be you telling yourself that you cannot have more than they have. You cannot be happier than they are. This is so crucial, and I have encountered that so much in my work with my clients. I may not have the love of my life because of my mother's husband, he died, or my mother was so disappointed in her own husband, and out of loyalty to her, I will have less. I will be very successful in my career. I will have all the money, but I won't have a husband or wife. I will have a great career, but I won't have children. This is how we can limit ourselves through loyalties. We subconsciously believe to be loyal to those who have lived and suffered before us. I emphasize subconsciously because we tell ourselves we want those things, but cannot figure out why they always seem out of reach. It's getting complicated. When we are loyal to the suffering of others, we create more suffering. When we are loyal to the beliefs running in the family, for instance, about other groups of people, opinions about them, or worse, hate towards those people, we can easily find examples of how that works. Think about how it works with prejudice. Is that inherited? Is that part of your family's belief system? It certainly is true with opinions of other groups of people. Entire generations of people can grow up hating another group of people for no other reason than that's what their parents and their grandparents and great-grandparents did before. You can see that with all sorts of people. You see these divisions where the prejudice and hatred just are simply inherited without being questioned. A significant example is anti-Semitism. People can have hate towards Jews and never have met one. Then that is the destructive element of loyalty. Is there hope for change? Absolutely. Challenging negative beliefs running in the family is one way. Is this really true? Is a helpful question to cut the spiral. The underlying loyalty line here is the loyalty of the child to the parents and the loyalty to the groups he or she belongs to. Consider what happens if you come from a marginalized group of people like an ethnic minority. You can be loyal to your background, or you become successful and might face exclusion or jealousy. Why is it that stepping into your magnificence can cause your problems in the group? It looks like you're eliminating the people who once had power over you, the ones that had the money. And now you are trying to become like them. It is easy to recognize this when you look at the beliefs people care about money. Why is it that stepping into your magnificence can cause you problems in the group? It looks like you're imitating the people who once had power over you, the ones that had the money, and now you're trying to become like them. It is easy to recognize this when you look at the beliefs people carry about money. Money has a lot of negative connotations, while it is only an energetic means. A means to make your life easier if you use it well. Only by consciously breaking free and challenging those inherited beliefs and replacing them with new ones can you free yourself from blocking your prosperity. So we can see ourselves in which loyalties are healthy and in which loyalties are unhealthy. Any loyalty that minimalizes who you are and restricts who you want to become is a restriction for your own life force energy. It restricts your own magnificence. Of course, that is not healthy. And much of those restrictions emanate directly from the parent-child relationship. For example, if I'm being loyal to my mother's sadness or loyal to her depression, I will become closer to her. That's not healthy. We think that if we get closer to her heart, or even if we carry the sadness for her, we will experience more love and closeness with our mother. In the same way, we can be loyal to the anger of our father or another person only to get closer to them. It is in this way that we can be very loyal to the suffering of the mother and father of our grandparents and their ancestors. Much of this is shown in epigenetics, the science of inherited trauma. You can wonder that even when someone says their mother or father is their best friend, do they still have a mother or a father? Isn't that relationship a different one? Of course, it is absolutely great to be in a very close relationship with your mom or dad, but it's not the same as a friend. In part 2 of Hidden Loyalties and Self-Sabotage, I will explain specifically the wide variety of loyalties between children and parents, the kind of loyalty that hinders, blocks, and restricts living someone's potential. I'm absolutely certain that on a deeper level, the ones that came before us, our ancestors, don't want us to suffer because of loyalty to them. They just want us to thrive and to be happy, to live according to who we are, by us showing and shining our magnificence. So say yes to getting insight into the dynamics leading to self-sabotage. Thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.